All right. Hey guys, good afternoon, everybody. Setting up the room right now. So just give me a few moments to finish setting this up and then we will get started shortly. All right, a few things here. Looks good. That's saved up. This link sent out too. All right. Good afternoon, everybody. Just waiting for people to join in for the orientation for today. So basically, well, let's get a few more moments so I could just make sure that everyone hears this once we get started. But for the most part, this orientation is mainly going to be covering the curriculum for the mentorship. So we'll be covering pretty much everything covered in the curriculum, plus we'll add a couple other things. I'll give you guys kind of a rundown how the PRB strategy works. There's no criteria to it yet because it's still in the works, but I'll try to explain how you guys can look for it so that you guys can be well prepared for, the entries that come up. I was going to keep it to just the variation V1s and the breakout V3 continuations, but the PRB strategy is really good, as you guys have seen. So I think we're going to include that for part of the mentorship just because, and the risk for it is good. So you'll be making a lot more profit than risk for that specific trade. And I think it'll balance out even if it doesn't play out every single day, which it has for January. So I'll just get a few more moments for people to join in. But if you guys have any questions, feel free to put your questions in the chat and then we'll cover everything on top of that. I'll just wait for more people to get into the room so we can get started all at the same time. So see who's here so far. Hey, William, Patricia, Johnny, Maria, Hawk. Here. Let's see. Got it. I think someone's recording the video. So yeah, you guys are free to record the live session if you guys want. I'm also recording it on the YouTube, so it's going to be available to you guys regardless. But if you guys want a higher quality recording, feel free to record the Zoom if you like. So it'll be recorded regardless, but if you guys want a higher quality so that you guys can see the screen a lot clearly, feel free to do that. All right. Yeah, no problem, Jeff. Hey, Kevin. So let's give it a few more minutes. We'll wait till like 2:10 to get started. But yeah, for the most part, let me see if I can pull up the curriculum real quick so we make sure that we're be on point with this here. So yeah, if you guys want to pull up the curriculum, you can. If not, it's fine. I'll just have it on here real quick. So we'll just go over this real quick just to give a rundown of what we'll be covering for today. So we'll be covering the V1 variation with confluence, just to make sure that you guys understand that strategy. We'll be covering the breakout V3 continuation with confluence. And then on top of that, we'll also be covering the PRB strategy that we've been applying pretty much every day. It's a breakout strategy. It's just a little variation to what we were already applying. There's no specific criteria for it because me and Maddie have been testing it, and it wasn't as good last year. So, we tested it around like January. So I think it's because of the low volatility during that, or not January, November, December is because of the low volatility that I don't think it's a great strategy and the market's kind of slow. So obviously we're gonna have to make adjustments as the market kind of shifts around a bit. But I think it'll be good for now, at least from now up until summer, June. So those three strategies, and then I'll show you guys the trading journal, how we're going to be journaling everything, and then basically our schedule for the next 3 months. Pretty simple checklist, some books that you guys can read if you like, and then I'll also show you guys how to backtest, or how I backtest, so that you guys can do that in your free time as well. So let's see. All right, looks like it's about to be 2:10. So it looks like we can start officially.
What? Rolling with
All right, 1 second, guys. Gotta make sure this here looks good. All right, looks good. All right, guys. Hey, what's up, Maddie? Maddie, so well, I'll just tell you everything. We'll just start over and then we'll go over everything here. Sorry guys, my voice is kind of off. My teeth are kind of had an issue with my teeth, so I gotta go back to the dentist on Tuesday. And just a heads up, so just 1 second, let me check my calendar real quick. There's not gonna be a live session on Tuesday because I have to go back to the dentist, unfortunately. And then we'll have a live session on Thursday, but I'll be flying out to Arizona. So I think everything else should be fine, but we just won't have a live session on Tuesday. Yeah. Daniel said refrain from the chips. I gotta refrain from all food in general because my one of my veneers got chipped, basically. It wasn't from chips either, it was from my water pick. So I don't know if you guys use a water pick for like flossing. My water pick was too strong, so I had to buy a new one. And I gotta get my teeth fixed on Tuesday. So my voice might sound a little funky, but I'll try to, please bear with me, and I'll try to sound as understandable as possible. But all right, guys, so good afternoon, everybody. Looks like majority of you guys are here so far. You guys are the select few of the group who applied to this mentorship. So I think we accepted about like 30 or 40 people. There's about like 300 to 400 people who applied. Yeah, I think everyone here, I have some sort of personal connection with you guys, with regard to being in the group. So I'm familiar with at least everybody here for the most part. I wanted you guys to get, the head start on like this mentorship program if I do continue it. So for this mentorship program, here's the curriculum. It's going to be a 3-month program from February up until May. So for February, we're going to be meeting every day after every live session. So typically we'll trade between 6:30 and 8, and then, or before that, and then after that live session, we'll get off the normal live session. I'll send out another Zoom link to you guys in the mentorship group. So if you guys are on the Discord, you guys will see that you have your own private group here. I'll send you guys a Zoom link here, and then we'll meet immediately after the live session, and we'll cover pretty much everything that we did during that live session. So we'll cover all the trades that we took, all the official trades. We'll explain the trades that we avoided, why we avoided them, and then we'll also go over trades that other people identified. So it's pretty simple. It's going to be the same process every single day. This is going to help you guys kind of get into that routine to only take official trades, understand why you're avoiding trades. And although it's okay to identify other entries, understand that, you want to try to avoid that. For this mentorship here, so that I can get you guys all on the same page, we're just going to focus on 3 different strategies. We're going to focus on the variation V1 with confluence, the breakout V3 continuation with confluence, and the PRB strategy. So we'll only be focusing on those. And that's kind of what I want you guys to focus on, mainly on those. For you guys who are more experienced, you guys are more than welcome to take your own entries that you can journal and whatnot. But for the most part, that's going to be our main focus. If your guys' problem is revenge trading, over trading, not following your trade plan, this mentorship is going to force you to like just focus on three strategies so that you guys don't kind of go off track. So, as mentioned, we're going to try to focus on just those three strategies. And then later on, so month two, when we start meeting just once a week, you guys can do what you want, right? First month is really just to get you guys in that routine and consistency so that you guys are doing the same thing every single day. And then, of course, month two, if you guys feel comfortable, you can always add more strategies to what you guys are taking. Or just stick to what you're doing. I'm pretty sure if you guys stick to what we're doing, only official entries, plus the PRV, that you guys should be able to be profitable at the end of the month, right? Because you're focusing on just quality entries. I think that's the main thing here. Being part of this mentorship is going to prevent you guys from taking dumb trades. That's really what it is. So once you guys have that routine down and you have a trading plan, you'll be able to pretty much adapt that to whatever else you want to do. So once this mentorship's over, you can still stick to the main three strategies that we're applying, or you guys can go and do your own thing. But at least from there, you'll have, some sort of mindset that you guys can follow moving forward. So, just stick to the game plan, and just rinse and repeat every single day. So that's pretty much it. The first month, it'll be meeting after every live session. The second month, we'll be meeting weekly. And the third month, we'll be meeting every 2 weeks. So basically the first month, I'll be looking over your shoulder pretty much every day. I'll be kind of explaining to you, what you did wrong during that day, if you made any mistakes. And it's okay to make mistakes. So I want you guys to understand that the first month, I'm expecting a lot of people to make mistakes, right? Because you guys are barely getting into the situation where you have to like follow a guideline when trading. I'm expecting a lot of people to make mistakes, and that's okay. You want to make mistakes and you want to document them. So let me open this up real quick. Spreadsheet. So if you guys don't have the trading journal yet, just go to down here where it says 2024 official live trade. Scroll up to like this middle one right here where it says blank template. Click on that there. It'll give you a blank template of the trading journal. To copy this to your own Google Drive, you'll just click File, go to Make Copy, and then it'll make a copy on your own drive. So you can go ahead and like fill these out. So basically, you just want to fill out all the entries here that you take for the day. And then at the end of the day, we'll cover those entries, whether it's an official entry, some trade that you just took on your own. And we're going to put notes here. So for the most part, we want yours to look like mine, which is like this right here, right? We want yours to only include official entries, but it's going to be okay for the first month because obviously not everybody's going to be able to follow directions, right? You're going to get kind of greedy sometimes. You're going to want to take different entries. Like I'm going to be pretty blunt. Like this month is going to be pretty boring for you guys for the most part, because you'll see here that there's either one entry or no entries for majority of the days. So, I mean, our main goal here is really to get you guys in that mindset where you'll be okay with taking no entries for the day. You guys can see my results from January over here. I didn't really take any losses. I took one loss here, which probably could have been avoided, but I have a pretty good win rate for January. And these are all the trades I took. So we'll be including the PRV entry on top of the official ones. And it should balance out because the PRV has a 25 TP stop loss. So even if you were to win or lose a trade, it should balance out by the end of the month. So again, if you guys don't have the trade journal, just go to the link that's on the Discord, make a copy of it. And then every day you'll put the entry, the time of your entry, whether it was a buy or sell, whether it was a win or a loss, your profit on the trade. It'll add your trades here. The strategy used, the markup, basically a screenshot of what you took and notes of it. So you'll be okay to take your own entries, but obviously we want you guys not to. But if you guys do make a mistake, so like say for example, tomorrow you guys take a trade, right? Tomorrow's the 5th, 2/5/24. So you take a trade at like 6:20, right? Because some people like to trade pre-market. Whatever it was, for example, a buy, say it was a loss, -30. And then you'll put your strategy here. Just say, for example, it's not one of the official strategies. Like say you take a pivot scalp entry, right? That's fine. You can take a pivot scalp. You'll put the markup here. And then for your notes, you'll just say, okay, made mistake, trading pre-market, loss could have been avoided. Exactly. Like that's what it would look like, right? But for the most part, you want to have a clean journal where you're just taking official trades. So it's okay if you make mistakes. We're going to work on that. So if you make a mistake, that's fine. And then we'll pretty much take it from there. So that's pretty much how you would do that with regard to the trade journal. Let me go down the list here. I just want to cover everything, just touch on everything before we go into detail. We'll go into detail with regard to the strategies, and then we'll go into detail with back testing and entering any of these entries here. So let's see if there's anything else here that I need to touch on. I think that's pretty much it. The checklist right here, we'll go over it like during the examples. But other than that, I think that's pretty much, there's not really too much to cover here, guys. Like I'm trying to make this as simple as possible so that you guys, there's no confusion. Everybody's on the same page and everybody's doing the same exact thing for at least for the month of February. You know, for the month of February, it's really just getting mindset proper, understanding when and when not to take a trade, and pretty much being in full control of your trade psychology. So let's see, one question over here. Let me scroll through the Zoom real quick and make sure I'm not missing anything. Yeah, Eunice said that's my main problem. Sometimes taking stupid trades because of greed or revenge trading and not putting a stop loss, then blowing all of his profits. Yeah, that's what we want to fix here. We want to fix here so you're not taking any of those random trades and you're just sticking to official entries. Because you know, if you took every official entry for January, you should have made a lot of profit because you only had one loss here, and the PRB entries towards the end of the year or towards the end of the month pretty much covered a lot of what was lost, because we made like 50 points with just 2 PRB entries, and they added it pretty nicely. Jeff's asking, hey, Sean, will you recommend to do the apex evaluation in the first month? So I think the answer would be different according to the person, right? If you think you're able to follow the directions and only take valid entries, then sure, why not, right? Because if you think you can do that, I'm pretty sure you should be able to pass an apex account by the end of February. Because, for example, if you're doing the PRB entry, so if you're doing conservative, which will be 10 contracts times 5, that'll be 50 per contract. And then if you're going for a PRB entry, that's going to be 250. So if we take every PRB entry, that's going to be 1,250 potential profit or loss. And then if you're going to be doing the regular official scalps times 5 times 10, you'll be making, sorry, that's not right. Or is that right? I think, yeah, that is right, actually. So for each PRB entry, you can make possibly 1,250. And then for every regular V1 variation and breakout V3 continuation, you can make about 500. So your goal to pass 150K count would be 9,000, I believe. So 9,000 divided by, say, for example, you're taking just PRB entries. And you guys can have the choice whether you want to take just PRB, because for some people, I think that might be the easiest case, right? It's just one entry a day. It's going to be a 1-to-1, so it'll be easy for you to like really gauge how long it's going to take you to pass. So if you just take the PRB entry and you say you are going for straight wins, like for January, there was no losses for the PRB strategy, you only need about 7 wins to pass. So realistically, you can probably pass within a week, 2 weeks, month max, if you're only taking the PRB entry. So if you think that you're comfortable with just taking 1 trade a day, Jeff, and you're not gonna FOMO into anything or make any mistakes or like just get greedy, then I would probably recommend doing it. If you think that you're still like in that mindset where you're going to make some bad trades and stuff like that, then maybe not, just trade on a demo account or a paper account. But if you want to, I mean, this is like realistic here, because the PRB, we took 4 PRBs. Technically, there would have been 5 wins, but I didn't trade last Wednesday. There was a PRB win every single day last week. That would have been 5 back-to-back wins. If somebody was to take every single PRB entry, you would have been basically almost passed by next week, because you only need 7.2 wins, right? So yeah, if you guys want to take this really simple, like if you want to do this mentorship and just make it as simple as possible, you can just take the PRB entry, because from my testing, the PRB entry is really, really good. You just have to like focus and pay attention on the live session. I think that'd probably be the best option for majority of you guys. If you guys just take the PRB entry and don't take any of the other scalps, your profitability should balance out by the end of the month. Like I'm pretty sure everybody should make enough to pass, and you can actually increase your contract size. Like for me, I'm doing a 12 contract because I think the PRB is gonna, it's like super simple. So for me, if I'm doing a 12 contract times 5 times 25, I'm making 1,500. So I'm actually gonna be able to pass a lot quicker. So like if I'm doing 9,000 divided by 1,500, I only need 6 wins. So you just do the math. It's really just doing the math. If you guys can see like how many trades you actually need to pass, it's only 6 trades. So, I mean, if you took every PRB entry and you had like a break even on some days or some weeks, which I don't think would happen, you should still be able to pass within a month because there's going to be there's going to be 20 trading days in a month, right? If the strategy was only one, if it even if it was like say you'd lose like half the time, it's a 1-to-1 strategy. So if you divide that by 2, you'd still have 10 wins. So eventually, I mean, if you just follow the plan, you should be able to pass within the month. So yeah, I mean, it's up to the person. Of course, if you were asking me, I would say yes, right? If you were asking me or somebody that's not going to make mistakes or make minimal mistakes, then yes, for sure. Like I'm just waiting for the next sale to come out for Apex. Once they have like another 81% off, 80% off, or 90% off, I'm just going to buy like a bunch of accounts because this PRV strategy is pretty key to being able to pass very quickly and to stay consistent. So for me, I'm using a 12 contract size. And then once I'm funded, I'm just going to go back to 10 because it just helps you a lot. It allows you to pass quickly. And then once you're funded, it'll make it almost impossible for you to blow the account. Because realistically, so for example, your max drawdown is 5,000. And if you were to do a 10 contract divided by, like you need 4 back-to-back losses, which I've never seen before. And even if you were to take official entries, we don't have 4 back-to-back losses like ever. We barely have 2 back-to-back. I mean, if we go back to 2023, we had 2 back-to-back like in March. Um, and I think that was it. Or there was a bit more over here in August because this was like summertime where the market was kind of iffy. So there was like we had 2 back-to-back in March, 2 back-to-back in August. And I think that was it. Yeah. So we don't really have back-to-back losses like that. So even if you were to take a loss, if you're just following the game plan, you should be able to recoup that, especially if you're taking the PRV because it's a 1-to-1. So even if you lose one day, you'll make it back on the next day. So um, yeah, I mean, it's up to preference. And I mean, if you guys have any more deeper questions regarding that, you can ask me. But for the most part, it's just really going to be up to preference. Yeah, no problem, Jeff. I think you should be fine because you've been around for a while, so you're consistent. So I think if you're to do it, I think you should be perfectly fine. All right, let's see. A question from Daniel. Daniel's asking, can we show how to do the print screen? Yeah. So if you're on TradingView right here, so let me just show you an example. If you guys want to go back and just like so let's go back to our entry from Friday, right? I think we took a PRB entry. I'll mark up 6:30 right here. I'll mark up 8 o'clock right here. I think the PRB entry happened somewhere down here. Price came down, rejection. Where's the space at? Space, and then entry happened right there, I believe. Yeah. So if you want to go back and post your screenshots for whatever you took. So let's mark that up there so that you guys can see it. Once you have your trade marked up there, just go over here to the camera option. It's like a camera button right next to publish. It says take snapshot. Click copy link. It'll copy the link to your clipboard. You'll go over to your markup over here. It'll just control V it, command V, what if you're on a computer or a Mac, and then you'll have it right there. Once you have that, you can click on that, and the screenshot will show up right there. Super simple. That's probably the easiest way to do it. You can take an actual screenshot too, but I don't want to like fill up my computer with a bunch of like random screenshots. So I just get the link because the link's pretty much valid forever, I guess. I have screenshots from, let's see if the screenshots from last year are still valid. 2023, January. Yeah, they're still good. So, and at that point, it's probably gonna be unnecessary, but I'm pretty sure they last long enough for you to have them on your screen. All right, so there goes that question right there. Super, super simple. That's all right, Matt. Matt's at Monster Jam. It's all good. Let me scroll up real quick. Let's see. Nicholas is asking, I didn't understand at the beginning when you were talking about the three strategies. You said there was one that wasn't good during last year's back test when volatility was high. Which one was I talking about? It was the PRB. So the PRB strategy, we didn't actually test it. Well, we didn't take the trade last year. We just started taking it more recently. It's the breakout strategy that we take in the morning between 6:30 and 7. So we don't really have much data on it, but so unfortunately, we can't really go far back. Like I tried to back test, but if you guys have tried to back test on TradingView, like if you go back far enough, it kind of stops loading. So you can go back pretty far here. I don't know if Nick's here right now, because I know Nick told me he had a way to, and I don't see him here, but Nick said that he had a way to go farther back. But unfortunately, we can only go back so far. So I think the farthest we could go back is like somewhat early January on the 1 minute time frame. And I'll show you guys how to backtest later. I'll go over everything in detail. So let's see, if you go back far enough, you'll see that eventually it'll just stop loading. Yeah, like right here. So this is where it stops loading. So I could only backtest it enough, like a real backtest. I can only do a real backtest up until the 14th. The way that I was backtesting it to see how price was moving last year was I opened up a YouTube channel. And of course, this isn't ideal because the quality isn't that great. So like basically I went to the previous trading sessions and I just pulled like a random session like super far back. Like what I did was I went back to like and given I've only looked at December, I didn't really look through November, October, September, etc. But basically I just pulled up a video here, like say for example, November 14th. And this is how I backtested it. It was the only way that I could backtest it further than what was available. What I did was I just opened this up and then I just fast forwarded it to the chart on open to see how it moved. So this is kind of how me and Maddie were trying to backtest it, but it's not really possible. It's not possible to do it accurately because you can't map up the exact price. So basically I just fast forward it to like 6:30 and I looked for a possible entry here. So for example, the way that the PRB entry works, we're looking for like a push in the direction of the trend, rejection off the pivots. So for example, let me see, price came down, rejected right there. We got some space. And then you can see here, there's another rejection off the area. So this is where the entry would have happened. But again, it's kind of impossible to see the exact price. But you can see over here that the PRB entry actually did hit. So I just fast forward a little bit. And you can see the entry would have happened right here and it pushed up right there, right? So you can tell that the PRB did work on November 14th. If it was like if it's very obvious like this, you can see that it does work. But not all videos are going to look super obvious. That's kind of how I was back testing it. I know it's not ideal, but if you guys really want to back test it super far, you can really just pull up any video. If you go back to all the live sessions, there's about 827 live sessions here. So if you had like, say for example, you're just really bored, right? You're bored over the weekend and you want to test a PRB strategy. You can pull up every single video you want, fast forward to like the first, 30 minutes of the chart and just see if the PRB entry hit. Like you have so many videos here to just back test from live sessions. You can go back to like 2022 if you wanted and see if the strategy was working. And now I'm kind of curious. So let me pull up 2022 over here in November. And I'm just curious to see if the PRB was working because I wasn't able to do a real back test, but from what I saw, it seemed like it still worked. Okay, let's see. I don't know if I have the pivots open on here. 6:30. And And this is why I'm super glad that I recorded every live session, because you can literally pull up a live session and just see if the entry worked. So looking at this right here, Maddie, I think it did work again right here. So we had one where it rejected directly off it. Price came down, retracement came back down. I think there was price space here. This video is pretty old. Yeah, so looking at this right here, Maddie, it looks like for Lumbar. And we'll go over this in detail. I'll kind of show you guys what I'm looking for with these PRV entries. And yeah, it worked out perfectly right here, Maddie. Price came down, retraced up, came back down. There was some space, entries right there, and went straight down at CP. So this strategy is really good. So my comment earlier about the strategy not being effective, that could be completely false because I wasn't able to really test it. But you can see that I just basically back tested the strategy from November 11, 2022, and it still worked out perfectly fine. So I'm going all in with the strategy for the most part. And then again, if you guys want to just take this strategy during the mentoring cycle, I think you guys will be perfectly fine because it is a one-to-one. So even if you have a loss on one day, the next day is probably going to be a win, and you'll recoup it. And then you know once you have another hot streak, you'll probably pass within a couple of days. So yeah, we'll go over this again a little later, and we'll discuss it, once we get down to the actual explanation of like how it works. But for the most part, that's pretty much how I've been back testing it farther back than the 14th over here. So, all right, let's see. Let me scroll down further. All right, question from PC. PC's asking 10 to 12 contracts. Yes, not lots. We don't use lots for futures, contracts. So 10 to 12 contracts on a 150K Apex account. So 10 will be conservative, 12 will be more on the riskier side. You'll pass quicker, but I'm fine with 12 because I think if you're doing a one-to-one, you should be able to recoup that either way, as long as you're not getting greedy and taking random trades on top of that. Let's see, Nikki's asking, what do you recommend if I have a 150 and a few 50Ks? So are you using a copier, Nikki? Because you can set your contract size to a specific contract on the copier. So you would just use different contract sizing. I'm not sure what the risk is. Here, let me pull up Apex real quick because I don't trade anything smaller than 150K, but I can just do the math for you. It's not that difficult. Basically, the way that I do the math is I try to calculate it where I can take 3 back-to-back injuries at the very least before blowing the account, which odds are it's probably not going to happen. So your max loss is 2,500. So let me see. 2,500 divided by 3. Basically, you can lose about 800 per trade. So say, for example, you're doing 5 lots, 5 contracts. 5 contracts times 5 times 25. Probably bump it up a little more. 6 times 5 times 25, 750. Maybe bump it up a little more. Okay, so the max contract size that you want to use on a 50K account would be 6 contracts. Because with 6 contracts, you'll risk about 750, which will allow you to lose more than 3 times back-to-back to blow your account, which shouldn't happen because from my testing, it never loses back-to-back. Let's see, your goal to pass is going to be 3,000. So doing the math there. So 3,000 divided by 750. Oops. 3,000 divided by 750. And again, it's just basic math, guys. If you guys can figure out like the formula to figure out your risk, it's super, super simple. So you need 4 wins. That's actually really simple. So like with these 50Ks and 25Ks, it's really quick to pass. Like you saw for the 150K account, you need about like 6 or 7 wins to pass. On the 50K, you only need 4 wins to pass, Nikki. So as long as you're using proper risk, you should be able to pass that with like 4 PRB entries, which is pretty amazing. I'm pretty excited for it. I'm excited for you if that's what you're going to be doing, because you should be able to pass within a week if that's the case, as long as it's like a good week, right? The way that I've kind of understood how the wins and losses will work with the PRB, being conservative, I would probably count it to like maybe one or two losses a week. Some weeks you're gonna have a hot streak, and you're not gonna have any losses. But if you calculate it to having just one or two losses a week, so say for example you have two losses, right? So you have two losses, that's gonna count as maybe three wins for the week. So if you do three wins for the week, or even two wins, we'll just do super conservative, right? Two wins for the week, that's going to be including losses. Because if you take a PRB entry Monday through Friday, and then you only have two wins per week, because you say, for example, you have three wins, two losses, it's going to subtract two of the wins, and you'll have like one or two wins. So you do that times four, you can have technically about like 8 wins for the week, or for the month, actually. So if you just take the PRB entry and then saying like worst case scenario, you lose two trades a week, which I highly doubt will happen, you'll still have about 8 wins at the end of the month. So with that, you should be able to pass your 50K. So it's just, I feel like with a lot of people, they don't see the light at the end of the tunnel because they're not able to do the math to understand how many wins they need just to pass. That's why I'm saying like one trade a day with the PRB is fine, because you can lose a trade, win a trade, lose a trade, win a trade, win a trade on Friday, and then you'll have like one win for the week. And then you just do that a couple times. And then by the end of the month, you should be able to pass, no problem. And that's like worst case scenario. Best case scenario is you'll have a week like last week where every trade won Monday through Friday, and you'll have a pass challenge within a week, right? So best case scenario, worst case scenario, it's just a matter of time until you pass. So that's pretty much what you would be using, Nikki, depending on your account size and contract size that you're using. All right, so that's it with that question right there. Let me scroll up real quick. I'm just gonna go over all the questions, and then once I'm done with the questions, we'll go over the strategies. So I'll cover all questions right here, and then we'll go over the strategies, the V1 variation with confluence, the breakout V3 continuation with confluence, and then the PRB. And then we'll go over back testing and stuff like that. So let me scroll back up real quick. It's going to cover every question that we have here so that you guys are fully ready for next week, or for tomorrow, actually. All right, so Jeff's asking, does Tradeovate have a similar quick trade manager as FTMO? Yes, they do. So let me see if I can pull it up here. They do, and it's actually better. It's actually way better. Let me log into my Apex. I don't know which Apex this is, but I'm just going to log into one of them. Okay, so drag this over here. This is one of my newer accounts, I think. So I'm almost done with passing this account. I'm currently at 154,000. I need 159,000 to pass. So I need about like a couple more PRB entries to finish it. In order to put the quick trade manager, Jeff, what you want to do is, I mean, depending on where you're trading, I always trade on my chart here. So I don't really use any of this stuff. You can do it on here too, but I personally just use this because it's easier. So like, I mean, I could basically just close all this stuff. I don't really use any of this. So for this right here, you'll go to your ATM button right here. I don't know exactly what it means. I think it means at the money, because that's when the execution happens. I'm assuming it's at the money. So if you want to set up your automatic TP stop loss, right here's where you're gonna have your contract size. Right here's where you can set it up. So you just click on this button. So if you want to set up a new one, you'll just put your TP stop loss. So for example, if you're setting up, and I haven't set it up yet, I'll just show you how to do a PRB one. What I'll do here is I'll put take profit 25, stop loss 25, because that's for the PRB strategy. And then I will just leave it at ticks. That's like per point. Leave everything the same, TP stop loss. I'm gonna make a plus here. I'm gonna call this 25.25. And I'm gonna click save. So now you can choose if you want a 10.30 TP stop loss for 25.25. You can click on that there. You'll put your contract size right here, whether it be 10, 12, whatever it may be. And whenever you enter a trade, you just hit buy or sell. Once you hit buy or sell, it's going to automatically place your TP stop loss. So this is actually way better than MT4, because for MT4 it's kind of confusing, right? The platform's kind of junky. This one's like super quick and it's very responsive. So like literally you'll set your TP stop loss, hit buy or sell, and then it'll automatically populate your TP stop loss on the chart. And that's pretty much it. Super, super simple. Gotcha. Okay. And Drew said advanced trade management. Thanks. Now I know. People are always asking me, but that's kind of what we set it to. All right. I think that's it for that question right there. Cameron's asking, was ATM on or off? It should always be on. I mean, that's the only way to, if it's off, you're not going to have a TP stop loss. So you have to set it to one of them to have the TP stop loss set on there. Because if it's off, you're not going to have a TP stop loss. You can enter a buy or sell. There's no TP stop loss that's going to be set on there. You have to set it to one of these here. So I just have them preset. If I'm doing a regular scalp, I'll do 1030. If I'm doing the PRB, I'll do 25-25. Jeff's asking, Sean, do you trade from TradingView or TradeOvate? I trade directly on NinjaTrader. So I don't even trade on this platform because I use a copier, but it's the same thing. It's basically the same thing, but it's on a different platform. I'm gonna try to trade on TradingView tomorrow because from what I saw, as long as you have your computer open with the copier, I think you can take the trade on TradingView and it'll allow you to, it'll copy the trade still. So I'll try this out on Monday. Like I'll trade directly on TradingView. Hopefully it works. I think it works, but I've never done it before. So, but it does make a difference if you're trading on. So that's how you would do the automatic TP stop loss on TradeOvate. And then I'll show you how to do it here on, I'll just do it on a paper account, it's the same thing. So the paper account right here. If you wanted to take a trade, like for example, if you were to take a sell entry, like for a PRB, you would just hit the sell button. You put your contract size right there, take profit stop loss, and then again, you just see 25-25. So it's super simple. That's how you would enter your trade on both your TradeOvate and then right here on TradingView. TradingView is actually a lot easier because I can just have this set up right here. And I just hit sell, and then it'll copy the trade, and then I can, hopefully it copies to my other accounts. I'm going to test it out tomorrow, so we'll see how it works. But I think it should work. I can't say for sure because I've never done it, but from what I've heard from other people, it does work. And we'll, I guess we'll see tomorrow during the live session. Gosh, yeah, so that's how Kenneth does it. Let's see, Eunice said he's tried it. If you use TradeOvate, it doesn't copy when you take the trade on TradingView. It only copies when you trade on a TradeOvate desktop. Well, I'll try it out. We'll see. We'll know for sure by tomorrow. If it only takes it on one account, then that's fine too. But I'll have both of them ready. And I mean, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Hopefully it works, but there's no guarantee. So what I would recommend is if you guys are trade directly on TradeOvate, or I mean, it wouldn't matter. If you're using a copier, then I would recommend trading directly on TradeOvate or trading on NinjaTrader. But if you're trading a single account, it shouldn't matter because you're only trading one account. So I think that's the only thing that I would be kind of concerned with. If sorry guys, 1 second. Sorry guys, I just got distracted for a second there. But yeah, if you're trading one account, it's fine because that's the only thing that I'm concerned about because I know it'll execute on one account, but I don't know if it'll copy to all my other accounts. I have like 8 other accounts that copy. And that's just the only thing that I'm concerned about. So if you're doing one account, you can trade directly on TradingView. If you're doing one account, you can trade directly on TradeOvate. But if you're using a copier, use whatever platform you're using to copy your trades. So if you're using group trade on TradeOvate, then obviously you guys can see I have like 8 accounts right here. So if you're using a group copier, use Tradeovate. If you're using Replicanto or Apex Copier like I am, then you'll want to use NinjaTrader. So pretty simple. Okay, perfect. Yeah, so Nick has actually done it before. Nick's here now. Gotcha. Okay, good to know. Well, yeah, that's it with that question there. Let me scroll over here and see what else I'm missing. I want to make sure I'm not missing out anything else. Right. Yeah, Nicholas said he tried trading on TradingView, though the TradeAway broker through the TradeAway broker and found that he was getting logged out of the broker often. Okay, so actually now that you guys have mentioned that, I don't think I'm going to trade on TradingView because so here's the problem with that, Nicholas. You see how I have multiple tabs open? Sometimes if you're like clicking on this tab and it's not logged into your TradeAway, that's why it logs you out because you're using a different chart. So I'm glad that you mentioned that because now I'm not going to do it because it's happened to me before. So again, if you guys have multiple tabs like me here, because I have one window that's mainly for our regular trades, and then I have one window that's for the PRB, and then I have one window for the clean chart, and then I have one window for liquidity, right? So every time I go to a different chart, the trading view is going to think that I'm logged into this specific one, so it's going to kind of it's gonna interrupt the connection with login from whatever because you can only log in on one trading panel here. That's kind of what sucks because sometimes I'll be logged into my forex.com account here, and then I'll be logged into my paper trading here, and I'll be logged into my TradeAway, and then whenever I click on a different one, it's gonna overwrite. So I'm glad that you mentioned that. I'm just not gonna I'm gonna trade directly on NinjaTrader tomorrow because I don't want to have to get caught up in that because that's what happened to me before in the past. If you guys remember Top Step, I was logged into multiple accounts and I logged into one, and what happened was I wasn't able to close the trade because it got corrupted, and then I ended up blowing one of my accounts because it was copying to another account, but it didn't close all of the trades. So yeah, I think you guys should trade directly on TradeAway or directly on NinjaTrader, unless you're just trading one account and you only have one window open. Because if you have multiple windows, it's going to corrupt the connection. So I don't recommend it if you're trading like I do here. Yeah, Rashida said Top Step did that to me, but Apex hasn't, and I've always had a lot of tabs open. Okay, no, that's good to know. So Rashida actually does that. She trades directly on TradingView and doesn't have issues. I know Top Step had issues back then. Maybe it's different with Apex, but I'm personally not going to risk it, so I'll just trade directly on my laptop for my entries. All right, cool. Thanks for the input, guys. So now that I now that I know. So let me scroll back up. Let me go right back up, and then we will continue answering the rest of the questions here. All right, Hawk is asking if you have multiple Apex accounts, the ATM can be used. Yes, that's correct. So here's the downside of trading directly on TradeAway. If you're trading with accounts being copied, you have to manually enter and exit. So you can't have the ATM function here. So this is only accessible if you're trading only one account. So if you want to trade with the group copier on TradeAway, if you hit buy or sell, you have to close this manually. So you can wait for it to hit TP on your trading view and just close this manually when it hits. But sometimes it's going to move so fast that you're going to miss it. So for me, that's why I don't use this as a copier. It's a cool copier and it works well, but you're not able to put a TP stop loss. So with that being a problem, I trade directly on NinjaTrader. So again, if you guys are trading copied accounts and you want to have an automatic TP stop loss set up for you, you have to use NinjaTrader, which I know sucks because you have to have a PC. Like for example, I had to go buy a PC just for the copier, but I've been locking in profits on all my accounts, so it's worth it in my opinion. So it's just up to preference. Again, I know there's a couple of people who use TradeAway as their copier. Like I think CT uses it. There's a couple other people in the group who use it. So it works fine and it's doable, but you have to be really focused and make sure that you close out and don't get greedy when hit your TP or your stop loss. So let me scroll down further. Let's see, PC said, I'm not always sure when you're about to take an entry on the live, and when I do, the price has already run away. Is it possible to decide on a possible queue so that we are sure that the entry is to be taken? At least for the PRB, it would be great. I do understand that sometimes it is a last second decision. Yeah, so I try my best to let you guys know ahead of time. I'll try to make it a lot more clear moving forward, especially for you guys here in the mentorship. So I'll try to give you guys a countdown and I'll give you guys, so you guys will actually understand the strategy once we get down to that part of this orientation where I'll explain how the strategy works sort of, so that you guys can anticipate the move. So just wait for that part there. But yeah, during the live session, I'll try to be a little um, more ahead with the entry time because sometimes it is last second. Like if the candles aren't super like for example, I think the entry from Friday was kind of iffy because we had to wait for the candle to close properly, right? So the candle here didn't close as proper as we were expecting, and we had to wait for the candle to close, right, for the entry. Because I think our entry was like it was like right here. So I'll try to give you guys a heads up, but again, it's just going to depend on how the candle closes because it's a very precise entry when looking for it. So I'll try to count down and I'll tell you how the candle will close. And if it does close properly, you guys can just be ready to enter the trade right away. And also, William said on the PRB, you can also hear the sound of my trade manager on my speakers, which could also help. So you'll hear my Ninja Trader say a position filled or trade filled. I forget what he says, but you'll hear it signal when I'm in the position. So that will also help as well. Just you guys have to pay attention to it. I know it's kind of hard because it happens so quickly, but that's kind of what you guys will have to look for. The key will be for me marking up. You'll see me put up the TP stop loss. So for example, if the entry is setting up, we're already going to know which direction because we're trading the direction of the trends. You'll already for sure know what to sell. You'll see me put it on here, and I'll typically count down towards the end. I'll be like, okay, if this closes a certain way within the next couple seconds, then I'll enter the trade. So I'll try to make it as clear as possible. And then also the real cue is going to be my entry because I'll have my speaker on super loud and you'll hear it when I'm in the position, especially if you guys are here on the Zoom. Let's scroll down a little further. I want to make sure there's nothing else here. All right, let me go down further. And guys, if you asked the question earlier and I didn't get to it, just put your question in the chat again because I'm going down the list right here. I think I covered everything so far, and I'm going to keep going down lower to make sure I'm not missing anything here. Scroll down a little further. All right, so Shannon said, are the indicators present or do you have a specific settings? Or preset? Yeah, so the indicators are pretty much preset. The only thing that I changed here, Shannon, would be the colors of the pivot. So if you have the default settings, I mean, they're fine if you're okay with the colors. It was just the fact that yellow was kind of hard for people to see on the live session that I changed it. I just changed it to blue, but you don't really need to. It's pretty much default settings. It's just the color of the pivot. Other than that, I think everything else is fine. The only thing else that would be changed would be the trend meter. We're not really using the trend meter, but I just have it on here just to look at the trend overall. So the default settings are for intraday. So it'll be set to 30-minute, 1 hour, 2 hour, and 4 hour. It'll probably be blue most of the time. The setting that you want to change for scalping is you just want to change it to chart. So if you change this all to chart, it's going to give you the trend meter for the specific time frame that you're on. So if you're on the 1 minute, it'll give you the 1 minute trend meter. And it's pretty self-explanatory. I think those are the only things that we have adjusted. For the trailing stop indicator, if you want the ATR down here, so the default settings, you'll have the actual trailing stop on. For me here, what I did was I just turned the lines off, so it cleans it up a bit. And I mainly just use the ATR. So you can see over here, it says show ATR. It's already on. The default position is on the bottom right. I like it on the bottom center. So I just change it to bottom center and it shows the ATR right there. If you want it on top, you can do top center and it'll show you the ATR up there. But that's pretty much it for the most part. All this stuff is pretty much just preference. The trend meter isn't even necessary, but I just leave it on there for you guys to see. All right, so let me scroll down further. Josh is asking, Sean, can you cover the ATM settings? Yeah, sure. So let me go back to TraderBait. So if you guys want to be able to set an automatic TP stop loss, again, this only works if you're trading one account. Typically, it'll be set to off like that. And if you guys want to set it up, if you guys don't, you guys probably don't have anything set up yet. So if you want to set one up, just click on this the settings button right here. You'll just put your TP stop loss of whatever you want to set it to. If you're doing the PRB entry, it's going to be 25.25. And then you'll just name it whatever you want to name it. If you want to name it PRB, you can do that. If you want to name it 25.25, which makes more sense, you can 25.25, click OK. And then once you have that, this drop-down menu will have the 25.25 there. So once you have that there, if you hit buy or sell, it's going to automatically set your TP stop loss at that specific TP stop loss, whatever you set it to. And you can have different ones. For me, I have the 1030 here for regular scalps, and then the 25.25 for the PRB entry. All right, let me scroll down further. Nicholas is asking, what is space referring to in the PRB? We'll cover that once we get to the actual strategy. So I'll go over each strategy one by one, and then I'll explain kind of like, because the problem with the PRB is that we don't have any set requirements for it yet, because it's still in testing phase and the market's always shifting. So I have to make quick adjustments to it to make sure that it works right. But I'll kind of explain what I mean by it. Or I'll show you a quick example here. So the entry basically happened right here, right? For the PRB entry. So basically what we're looking for here is we're looking for price to come down slightly, retrace up, come back down. The trend here is bearish. We're only trading the direction of the trend. So we're basically looking for price to come back down. And then what I mean by space here is that you're looking for price to kind of give some space away from the retracement, right? So you're kind of looking for a consolidation sideways movement. So you're looking for price to kind of come down a little bit, consolidate, go sideways, retrace up, and that's where your entry is going to be, right? If you have price come up, continuation, consolidation, retracement, and when price retraces like this, you're expecting price to come back down. And that's why we take the entry right there for a sell. And that's kind of what we mean by space. But I mean, it's a very discretionary strategy. So it's not something that I can kind of tell you, okay, look for consolidation here. Because this right here might not look like consolidation to people, right? Like this candle right here, I can just look at it. I'm like, okay, price is consolidating right there because it gives a doji, comes back up for the retracement. This is where I know price is probably going to come back down. So it's kind of hard to explain unless you know what to look for. And it's discretionary because for me, I might see that as consolidation, a sideways movement. Some people might just see that as a retracement, right? Because I think majority of people they don't really see the consolidation here. Like when they see something like this, they think this is just a straight retracement, right? Because it looks like a straight retracement. But if you just focus on this candle right here, you'll see that for like 3 minutes right here, price pretty much went sideways. So that's kind of what we mean by space. But again, it's not something I can really explain. That's why I have to do it live, because sometimes it's not going to be considered consolidation. Like let me go to yesterday's, or not yesterday, Thursday's, and I'll see what it looked like over there. All right, so let's go to Thursday. Oh, so it's the same pattern again. Yeah, it's the same thing again. So the entry happened right here. Trend was bullish. Price came down. See, it's like a doji candle again right there. So I mean, it's kind of the same pattern. It's just hard. It's not like something that can be easily spotted unless you know what to look for. Right? Price came up, retraced. You can see that it's like the same candle that we saw on Friday. It's just a little bigger body. So same thing, kind of some space right there. Price came down, space, rejection, retrace up. And I think our entry happened right here. Right? Let's pull up the entry actually. I can say for sure, see Thursday, which was, yeah, same entry. So I didn't even realize that was the actual entry, but I was exactly on point. So you can see how it's discretionary, right? It's like you can tell that there's space there, but it's only space because I told you. But like if I was to tell you, okay, you're looking for price to consolidate right here a little bit, not everyone can see this as consolidation. They see this as retracement straight up. But realistically, this candle is where price stopped. Price came down, consolidated right here for one candle, and then it retraced. So I'll try to make it a little more obvious, when we cover it, but it's something that like you have to be able to see it. Like you have to like you have to back test it and you have to see it yourself, like repeated over and over again to really know, okay, this is what he means. Because it's not going to be as clear as this every single time. Like yesterday, like Fridays was clear, Thursday was clear. Let me just look at one more example here at Wednesday. I kind of want to see a not clear example. I want something to not look super clean so that you guys can see why I can't really tell you exactly what to look for because the pattern is not always going to be the same. And then there's also other factors that you have to factor in. It's not just one thing. Okay, so same thing again right here. Let's see if I see an entry. Market opened at 6:30. Price came down, price came up. So you can see over here, there's actually no space up here. So there's no entry here for a buy. The entry came back down right here. I think I marked this up here and it didn't really, my cutoff time for entry is like 7 o'clock. So let me see if I can find one. I think it was, so price came down right here. And then I think I used this candle right here. It was one of these candles right here. I was like analyzing this in the car when I was on my drive over to the dentist. Basically, price came down, and I think this is what would be considered space. It was either this candle or this one right here. But the entry happened on this green candle right here. Right down there. Or no, I don't know if it came, it might have been this one right here. I know I posted a screenshot in the chat. Let's see. I know I posted a screenshot of the trade. Okay. So the entry happened, yeah, on the green. Okay, so it actually happened over here. So price came down right here, retraced up, and I think I marked up space like right over here, like this green candle right here. So you can see how it's not always easy. Like this right here would probably be like a spinning top versus the doji, but it's kind of similar to the pattern. It's like a reversal pattern that you're looking for. Price came down, retraced up, but you're also using momentum too. So you have a sell momentum here, you have a sell trend. So you're looking for, you're looking for a lot of things here. It's not just one criteria. You're looking for momentum, you're looking for trend, you're looking for the retracement, you're looking for the space here that we look for with me and Maddie. Once you have the space there, price comes back down, entry happens right there, and it comes right back down for a full TP. And that's where I marked it up right here on Wednesday. Yeah, so you guys can see, I mean, this will come with time. So of course, like the first couple of times you try to identify it, it's not going to be easy. But I'll give you a general gist of like what to look for. General gist, but again, you need to have the indicators. So Nicholas is asking, do you know FX Replay? You can get access to close to 20 years. So I think FX Replay is its own platform, right? It's not on TradingView. We wouldn't be able to use that because we would need my indicators to test it. Yeah, so that's like the downside to it. It would be good if we could just like port these over to there, but I don't think you can. So it wouldn't be able to, I mean, if you just want to look for the pattern, you technically can. You can just look for the pattern. You just won't be able to see like the confluences, like you can't use my momentum to identify momentum's actually coming down and the pivots over here as well. So yeah, and it's better to forward test anyways. Oh gosh, okay, you said no customer indicators, no custom indicators. Yeah, so it's fine because it's better to actually forward test it because you can backtest the strategy a million times. It doesn't necessarily mean you'll be able to execute when the actual trade is live, right? So that's why I personally like doing it live because if I make a mistake, we can catch the mistake and then we can work on that. Versus like back testing the strategy like 100 times, you're like, okay, this works. And then when it actually happens live, you're not able to actually execute. So it's all good. But for my testing, the strategy works fine. So I don't think we really need to back test anyways. I think testing it real time, even you guys yourself, will help you guys build on your trade psychology. All right, let me scroll up real quick. Just make sure I'm not missing anything else. All right, so CT said what he's done on Tradeovate is he'll enter a buy stop above or below a general entry and enter a short, then slide his TP stop loss into place. Gotcha. Okay. So yeah, if you guys want to do CT's way of doing it, I mean you can do it too. CT has done very well with Tradeovate copier. So if you want to do what he's doing, you can do that. I think for me, it's just I like to know for sure that it's in using actual copier. So I don't like to do it manually. Plus, it's kind of hard for me to do it super quick when I'm on the live session with you guys. All right, guys. So I think that's it for the actual questions here. So if there's any other questions, guys, feel free to put them in the chat. Moving forward, I think the next thing we'll cover will be examples of the variation V1 with confluence and the breakout V3 continuation with confluence. And then after that, we'll cover the, or actually, let's just start off with the, sorry, guys. Sorry, guys, dog barking. But yeah, so we'll start off with the PRB entry, and then we'll go over the variation V. Sorry, guys, 1 second. Let me see. Stop Kodi. All right, guys. So we'll start off with the PRB entry, and then we'll go over the variation V1 with confluence, and then we'll go over the breakout V3 continuation with confluence. We'll go over those first, and then from there we'll go over the journal again, just a quick review, and then I'll show you guys how to backtest if you guys want to test these strategies, in your free time. And then other than that, I think that's about it. I don't know if there's anything else that you guys want me to cover for today. I think everything's kind of just going to fall into place once we start doing our actual mentoring sessions. But I just want to make sure that you guys are all on point before we move forward. Let me just scroll up real quick. I think I saw another question here that I didn't get a chance to answer. Let's see. Miriam said, can we go through setting up our trading account again? I'm not able to log into TradingView, trying to set up for tomorrow. So Miriam, all right, you're here right now, right? I just want to make sure. So what did you need me to do again? You wanted me to show you how to set up your trading account? So let me know like exactly what you want to do, Miriam, and then we can try to do that. If you want us to do what we did when I was working with you one-on-one, I don't know if we could do that on here because you're gonna have to share your screen with everybody, or we can do it if you're okay with that. Um, I'm just trying to figure out like because you've already set up your trading account, so I'm not sure like how can you set it up again if it's already set up. Yeah, so how do you want to set it up, Miriam? Because we set it up already, so you can't set it up again once it's already set up. Are you? let's see, or if you can just tell me like what you want to do, because I can do it here because maybe other people have the same question, but I'm trying to understand like what are you trying to set up for your trade? Like, are you trying to go from the process from A to Z, like setting up the trade of eight brand new from a new Apex account? Because you can't do that again. Once you've like started your, like you've set it up, you can't just start up a new trade of eight because you already have a login. When you open, um, okay, Miriam's, I'm using another PC. Uh, so have you tried to log into your trade of eight? Because so again, like once you set up your trade of eight, you can't do the whole process over again. Like you just log into your trade of eight and it's already set up. So like, have you tried to if you can be a little more detailed, like where's the confusion at so I can kind of pinpoint where to help you? Because I can log into my trade of eight and I can show you what I'm like how I could set it up. But if you're trying to set up like a brand new trade of eight, you can't because it's just one account. Like for example, if I was to log out of this, like you guys can see all my Apex accounts are already on there, right? So okay, I'm gonna log into my Apex, my trade of eight. You can't create a new username. Like your username's already there. And it's the same thing here. So if you're just trying to figure out how to open your trade of eight, you just go to trade of eight, you put in your account info, you click login, you click launch, and it's set up already. There's nothing else that like you wouldn't be able to sign another agreement because you already signed it. There's only one account. And then right here, it has all of your other Apex accounts if you open more. So if this is where you're confused about Miriam, that's how you log in. You just log into there. If you're trying to log in through TradingView, so Delicia said she has to go. Um, so where were you trying to log into, Miriam? Were you trying to log into your TradeOvate or were you trying to log into, because it wouldn't matter if you're logged into two places. You can log into two places. You probably just have the wrong login information. Um, okay, so if you want to log into TradingView, and now that you've cleared it up, it's a lot easier to just go through this than having to go through, a separate live session. Because I would have to take a break after this. We've been on this live session for a while now, so I wouldn't be able to just hop right on with you again. So let me just go over here real quick. So this is what your chart will look like on TradingView, right? You have nothing on here. You'll see trading panel below. Click on that. You go to TradeOvate, and then you put in your login information right here. So if you have a problem with that there, you might be trying to log into live. So maybe that's probably where you're having the issue if you're logging into live. If you click demo, then that's where you would log into. So try logging into that, Miriam, and then if that's still a problem, let me know. But it should log you in. There shouldn't be any problems. Let me see if I can log into mine here. So let me go to my Apex. All right, let's see where I can find my information. So that's how you would log in. So it's pretty straightforward, and then it has all my Apex accounts right here. So yeah, try doing that. Miriam, if there's any other problems, let me know. But I just logged in right there, so you can see how I did it. It's super easy. You just have to log into your TradeOvate account. The only thing that I can think of that can be the issue is you're probably logging into a live one when it should be demo. That's the only thing I can think of. So yeah, just let me know, Miriam, and then we'll track back. So like I'll go over the PRV strategy right now. I'll go over the entries and back testing and stuff like that. And then if you still have an issue, then we can take a look. Nicholas said, did you get that login on the Apex 1995 website? Yes. Well, the website's a little updated now. I don't know if you tried it before, Nicholas. The website was like 1990s a couple weeks ago. They just updated it, so now it's like in the 2000s. So we kind of upgraded like 10 years later. It's still pretty old school, but I think we moved past the 1990s. We're down in the 2000, early 2000s now. All right, let me see if there's anything else here that I'm missing. Nicholas is asking, what are the settings for the momentum V2 indicator? Momentum V2. Sorry, I'm trying to remember which. That's the regular momentum indicator. Okay, yeah. So for the momentum indicator, here, let me just take this off. It's the default settings. The if you want to, so this scalp function is if you want to see gold bars. So like say for example, you're scalping and you want to see that it lines up with like say different time frames, right? So for example, you're trading on the 1 minute and you want to see that it lines up with like say the 5 minute and the 10 minute, right? You don't have to use this. This is for a specific strategy. So you just have that, it's usually unchecked. But if you want to use it, you can, but it's not really necessary for anything. This just gives you like a confluence. So for example, if you want to see momentum on multiple time frames, like for example, you're trading on the 1 minute, you want to see that it lines up with the 5 and 10, you turn this on right here, and then it'll give you a gold bar. So if you get a gold bar there, it'll tell you that the confluence lines up with multiple time frames. It's not necessary, but you can use it. It's for a specific strategy. Not one that we typically use normally, but it works very well as well. The only difference here that I changed was the color. So right here, it's kind of bright. So I just changed it to regular green. And for this red over here, it's kind of pale. So I just put it to regular red. So it's just a little easier to see. That's the only setting that you would change for the momentum indicator. Other than that, nothing needs to be changed. And if you want to have it more opaque, I kind of change it to more opaque. So instead of having it at like 100, I put it at 50. So that there is it's a little opaque and it's not completely green or completely red. Let me scroll down. So Nick said, just so you know, Sean, with TradingView and executing trades while market is volatile, it tends to fill you with half contracts at one entry and half at one point. That's why I'm using NinjaTrader now. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, so I'll just trade directly on NinjaTrader too. I think it works better that way. Let's see, Lucas is asking, do you automatically get a TradeObate account when you sign up for Apex? If you sign up with Apex, then yes. Or sorry, if you sign up with TradeObate, then yes. So again, guys, make sure that when you guys sign up for Apex, you're not signing up for Rhythmic, because Rhythmic is different. So Rhythmic is different. If you want to use TradeObate, then just make sure you sign up for the TradeObate one. And once you log in, they'll give you a login that pretty much shows what I used to log in, Lucas. So once you sign up for this Apex account, once you get into, so you'll click here to log in. I'm not going to log in because I don't want to accidentally show my login details. But if you just log in from there on your main page, it's going to say TradeObate account on the bottom right corner, and it'll have your login details there. You just got to make sure you sign up for the TradeObate one, not the Rhythmic. Let's see. Yeah, and also if you guys are if you guys have issues with so I know a lot of people here are telling Miriam that she needs to turn on the add-on. So for example, if you're on your TradeObate account here and you want to log into your TradingView, Miriam actually did this already, so I don't think she has that issue. But if you want to make sure that you can log into your TradingView, you have to go to your settings over here, application settings, go to your add-ons, and then make sure that you have TradingView activated right here. Once you activate it, you'll be able to log into your TradingView. So first, log into your TradeObate, go to your settings button right here, go to add-ons, go to TradingView, and then this will say activate. You'll just click on that there, and then it'll activate so you can log into your TradingView over here. So that's how you would set that up. All right, so if there's any other questions, guys, let me know. Otherwise, we will start off with the PRB entry, which we'll do on this chart. So the difference with the PRB entry and the other strategies is the TP stop loss. Typically, if you're doing a V1 variation or a breakout V3 continuation, you're going to be using a 10-30 split. If you're going to be trading on the PRB, it's going to be 25-25. So I mean, that's the main difference. Main difference is the TP stop loss. So like, for example, if you're taking a V1 variation with confluence, you're going to use a 1030. That's what it would look like. And if you're applying the PRB entry, it's going to be 25.25. So the risk reward is a lot better, and it's a once a day strategy. So, let me pull back the entry from, and also there's no red flag, so there's no restriction. So typically on this chart, I'll have the sessions turned off because we don't use it for the PRB entry. Let me go over here real quick, and I'll just rewind this to 7 o'clock. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to backtest this. And then I'll also show you how to look for the entry. So for the PRB entry here, you only need, well, you don't need all of these indicators, but I would still probably have them up because they'll help you identify entries. But basically the way that I would do it, so let me just go forward a little bit. It's like 8 o'clock. So if you guys want to go and backtest the PRB entry, what I would do and what I would recommend is go to 630 real quick right here. Get the line tool right here, vertical line tool, draw a line at 630, and then draw a line at 7 o'clock. This entry is only able to be taken between 630 and 7. That's pretty much it, because you want to take it when the volatility is high. So once you have that lined up right there, you already know where the entry comes up at, right? 630 or 7 o'clock. Once you have that, you can click the replay button. So if you want to, and let me just start from, I'll start over so that you guys can see from the start. So this is how you'll backtest a PRB strategy if you want to backtest it. There's no criteria for it that's like set in stone. It's kind of something that's evolving as the market changes throughout the year. And I'll be adapting with the market when it does happen. But right now it's pretty simple and it's straightforward. So this is current time, right? To go back to test the PRB strategy, you want to go back to 630 because that's when the market opens. So again, you want to go back here to 630. You want to draw a vertical line at 630 right here. Draw a vertical line at 7 because that's where the entry comes up. You'll click this replay button right here. And I'll just drop it at 7 because that's the last time to take entry. And your main focus is going to be within this area right here because this is where the entry comes up. So if you guys want to backtest this, this is kind of the pattern that you're looking for. You're looking for price to come down in the direction of the trend. You're looking for space, which is consolidation. You want to look for retracement, and you want to take it back down. So this is where the entry happened right here. We already have the trend. So if you want to look for a checklist for this, basically you want to look to identify trend, identify momentum. And there's no step-by-step process to this because, as I said, there's no specific criteria to it. Man, I don't know what's up with the text button, but the text button always does this. Let me see if I could. I'll do this. Let's copy paste it. Okay, so basically things to look for applying PRB. So this strategy, again, there's no criteria for it, but first thing, like, and I'll put them kind of in order. So first you want to confirm trend using pivots indicator. So the first thing you want to look for is identify trend. And I'll show you different examples because right here is it's super simple because it's been bearish the whole time, right? The whole time between 630 and 7 was bearish. So you're only looking for sells here. I'll show you different entries where it kind of swings back and forth before you can start looking for entry. But basically your main focus here is to look for all the pivots to be angling in one direction. So basically you want all the pivots to be below the red pivot, which is level 4, or above it. So for example, right here, the level 4 pivot's above all the other pivots. So you can pretty much confirm that the trend here is bearish, right? So you're only looking for sells. So first you want to confirm the trend using the pivots right here. Obviously market open at 630. Let me just rewind it a little bit. So say for example, right here, this is where market opened, right? At 630. At 630, your reading price was bearish because you can see the level 4 pivot is above all the other ones. So right here, you're just looking for price to come back down because the trend is bearish. So you're looking for price to come down. And then I'm going to be looking for possibly a sell signal to identify momentum. So again, right here, we have momentum. for momentum. Look for a bidding candle. And these aren't the requirements, guys. Again, this is just criteria, but it's not requirements. So you're not looking at these like, okay, this needs to be identified. There's going to be some that's going to be necessary sometimes, some that's not going to be necessary, but you'll have me on live session kind of telling you guys, okay, this is what to look for, when to take entry. The official entries for the V1 variation and breakout V3 continuation will have requirements, but for this one right here, you just have to follow me on the live because the requirements are going to change. Sometimes momentum is going to be required. Sometimes it's not. It just depends on how the market's looking for that specific day because it's a breakout strategy. So you're looking for a consolidating candle. Look for a correction. Enter on correction for 25.25. So this is basically what you're looking for. So confirm the trend, it's bearish right here. Confirm momentum. It's not always going to be necessary, but you can see right here that momentum's obvious. It's a big red candle. So we had price come down. We're looking for that consolidating candle, which is right here. The consolidating candle or space, whatever you want to call it. I think space works for us because it's not common. But there goes a consolidating candle right there. We're looking for the correction, which price corrects up right here. It's not a full correction yet, so it's slowly pushing up. And this is where I start to see the turn happen. That's where we took our entry on Friday. And there goes the entry for the PRV. So that's how you would go back and test it. So say, for example, you've tested this here. Now you want to test the one on Thursday, right? Again, we'll just go back to Thursday over here. You'll do the same thing. Thursday, 6:30. So again, Thursday, 6:30, you can draw a line right there. Thursday, 7 o'clock, draw a line right there. We'll replay to 7 o'clock. And then again, you can see right here, same thing, right? You're looking for the trend. So here's where it becomes a little tricky. So right here, you can see at this time at market open, the trend was bearish, right? So with it being bearish, you're only looking for sells here. Now you can see over here that price pushes up and there's no longer a bearish trend. Price is now above. So you're looking for the pivots here to confirm. Once the pivots here have confirmed, so it's not confirmed yet, right? You're looking at this, sorry. You're looking at this right here. And it's not confirmed. Once the level 4 pivot goes below all the other pivots, that's when you can confirm the trend. All right, so right here, you can see it's now confirmed because the red pivot is below all the other pivots. Red pivot again is level 4. It depends on what color you guys want it. I have it set to red, and that's kind of where you would leave it at. So that's kind of what you're looking for. You're looking for the trend here. Once you have the trend confirmed, then you can start looking for the entry. That's going to be the #1 thing, confirming trend. The trend has to be super obvious. So again, right there, the trend is confirmed. The momentum is bullish right here. So we already have the momentum before the trend. And you can see this over here as price goes around. We have the retracement right here. Now we're looking for space, right? Price is pushed up. We have the momentum. The trend here is bullish. We have the retracement. Let me put the criteria up here again. I hate when this thing doesn't. All right. All right. Well, I'm not going to put the criteria up because you guys already know what it is. But again, you're looking for price to push up, retrace. Now you're looking for that consolidating candle, which happens. So I'm trying to find the consolidating candle that we were talking about. Oh, it was right here. Sorry, I totally missed it. So price retrace right here, this red candle right here was a consolidating candle. I was looking for that doji candle that I was looking at the bottom end of the movement. So price came right here, pushed up, retraced down, and this red candle right here was the candle that we were looking for. That's a space. And then you had price kind of push up a little bit. This red candle right here was a retracement back down. And I believe that's where we took our entry. Right there. So let me pull it up just to make sure. Thursday. But again, see, you guys can see how this is, it's not always going to be the same setup. So I can't give you like flat line requirements for it because it's always going to be slightly different. And this is why you need to focus on just practicing looking for this pattern on the live session with me, which we'll be practicing every day, you know, for the next couple of months. So over time, you'll be able to see what I see. It just depends on like how quickly you're able to see it. So let me go back to the trade from Thursday, which was right here on the first. And yeah, that was the entry. So the consolidating candle was right there, that red candle. Entry happened right here on this red retracement. And it came right back up. So it's basically just trading price action, but it's just my price action. I'm able to identify things quicker than others because I can see it. I'm looking for a very specific pattern. And you can kind of see it's like a V pattern, like a quick V pattern. And that's basically what you'd be looking for. So again, there's no criteria for it, so I can't tell you exactly what to look for. Let's see, William said something in this criteria should talk about some sort of rejection. So that's the thing. That's not the criteria, William. So you're kind of making up the criteria right there, right? Because if I was to tell you to do that, look for rejection, it's not always going to work out, right? Like you can use that as your criteria, but let's go to like Wednesday. I think Wednesday you would have lost the trade if you were using that criteria. So again, like, you know, like I said, there's no criteria for it yet because the market's always shifting. When the market's shifting, you have to make some adjustments to it. So I can't tell you to look for every rejection off the pivot because if you do that and you lose a trade, that's just not the strategy, right? So let's go over here to Wednesday. I think Wednesday is a good example. Okay, so let me show you this right here. Because let's just go off your criteria, right? Like you mentioned, where it rejects off the pivot. So 637. Let's go over here. So if we went off your criteria, William, market open right here. So you're basically mentioning, you know, something that's criteria we should talk about is some sort of rejection. So if you're looking for some sort of rejection, okay, price climbs up right here. So if you're just looking for that rejection, so like, see, this is where you would have lost the trade, William. You've identified the trend here. You have identified the momentum. And like you said, you're like, okay, look for a rejection off a pivot, right? If you took that trade right there, let's see what would happen. Lost the trade, right? So that's not a criteria. So that's why I don't put that in the criteria because it's not a criteria, right? If you would have done that there, that would have been the loss. If you look at my trade markup on a Wednesday, that was actually not the entry. The entry happened at a different price point right here for a sell. So does that make sense, William? That's why we don't have that as a criteria. I know it's your thoughts, but we can't have that as a criteria because it's not. If it was that easy, then I would have told you that's a criteria, right? But it's not that easy. You can see how price kind of swings down here. So if you would have taken that trade there, you would have lost. If you're just basing it off rejection off the pivots. So the entry on Wednesday, we had a confirmation of trend right here. Price came down, retraced up. You had the consolidation doji candle right there. Price comes back up right here. So again, price comes down, retrace, consolidation candle comes down, comes back up, retrace right there. That's where the entry happened for the sell. And that's where we won the trade. So see, it's a big difference here because if you're just going off the pivot rejections, I mean, you can do that if you want, but that's just not the strategy. Yeah, William said I need more PRV training. Yeah, so go back and test it because I mean, if that's you can use that criteria. Don't get me wrong, you can use that criteria, William, but test it and then see if it works for you, right? Because if you have a high enough win rate, you can apply it. Like it's perfectly fine. You can apply that strategy, but the thing is, it's not going to be super clean like that. So for example, right here, not super clean, but say if you want to use that same criteria again over here on say Tuesday, it might have worked, right? But you have to do the testing because I don't have the data on that. So I can't tell you that's a criteria because that's not how my strategy works specifically. You can create your own little spin off of a strategy and you can call it the William pivot strategy or something like that, right? Because it could work. Like, don't get me wrong. I don't want to push you away from applying it that way, but it's just not the PRV strategy. So if you want to apply it that way, William, it's perfectly fine. Let's go over here to 630. So let's see. The trend over here on Tuesday was bullish, right? Market open right here at 630. And if you want to use that criteria, again, right here, market open at 630, see how it's projecting off the pivot. If you were to take that criteria again right there, William, for a buy, well, lost a trade, right? So that's why it's not a criteria. But again, like, if you want to use it, it's fine. You might have to change it up a little bit. Like maybe don't take the opening candle, look for the second one. Because if you waited for the second projection right there, then yeah, it would have played out. But again, that's in your own realm. It's not what I'm going to be doing because what I know works, but there's no criteria that I can tell you. I can just tell you, hey, look for a pivot rejection off like level 1 or 2 pivot. Because it's not always going to push off right away. Price might push away and then it might come back down. And then when it comes back down, it might not even provide an entry for you. So yeah, it's all with testing, William. If you want to test it, feel free to test it. But it doesn't meet the criteria for the strategy. So again, guys, if you guys want to test it out, let me show you the example from Tuesday, 6:30 up until 7. And again, I'll just show you kind of what I'm doing here. But you have to like really understand price action, which is really difficult for a lot of people because it's so discretionary. But with me, I know how to use discretion properly because I know what I'm looking for. I can't teach this to a beginner, right? I can't tell you something that's super simple. That's not necessarily going to come up exactly how you're looking for. So right here, price was bullish. Let me see how price kind of pushed up a little bit. Again, like I said, I was looking for that doji type candle, which is right here. So let's just go over here from 6:30. So price is rejecting off this pivot, not a criteria again. Price comes back down. We're looking for price to push up. We're looking for that consolidation. So price is pushing up right here. We're now looking for that consolidation space. Consolidation space right there. Price comes back down. We're looking for the turn back to the upside, right? So we're looking for the turn back up, which happens right there. It's a green candle. So like what William said, he's looking for the pivot rejection, but I'm not looking for that. I'm looking for the green candle, right? I'm looking for something completely different. So yeah, it can line up with what you're looking for, William, but going for what I'm trying to explain here, it looks like what you're saying, but realistically it isn't because we wouldn't be looking for the rejection. We're looking for the turnaround. So we got price to push up, retrace, consolidation right here, retrace right here, and I'm looking for that turn back around. Price comes down, turns back around right here, and that is where our entry came up. And again, right here. So right here, we have a sell signal. And with the sell signal right here, this doesn't meet the criteria for momentum, right? So I mentioned momentum will be necessary sometimes, but not always. Because right here, the entry happened at this point. Actually, sorry, I take that back. I don't know if this was the entry. That wasn't the entry right there. Now that I'm really looking at it, it's not. The entry actually happened later. It happened right here. Okay, so this is where the actual entry happened. I mean, this probably would have worked out too, but the entry happened, I believe, like right here. Yeah, so that's the entry right there. I mean, either way, you could have taken this one too, but now that I look back at it, that's not the entry. Either way, they both would have played out. They would have worked out either way. But this one right here was the actual entry, this red candle. So again, you can see that the criteria, there's no specific criteria. I can't just tell you, okay, price comes back down for retracement and you're looking for a green candle, because technically that could have been the entry. But now that I'm looking back at it, this one right here is the actual entry. And let's pull up Tuesday's trade. I'm pretty sure that was it. Tuesday's trade, which was actually, no, it happened on that green candle right there. So there's just a lot of like this strategy is just it's very discretionary. So like I mentioned, there could have been two different entry points. That's where the entry actually happened, but then I kind of second guessed it because of the explanation that I was giving William, and I said that it could have happened right here actually, which wouldn't really matter because either way, if you entered right here, it would have hit TP. If you entered right here, it still would have hit TP on the same candle. So it doesn't really make a difference. Let's see. So William said so that what you have right now is what my brain sees as much as a push up once it's into the pivots. Maybe use rejection, but maybe you should say come into pivots. Yeah, with more review, you'll come up with a better term for it. For me, I can't really give you guys a term because I don't have a term for it. It's not always going to be as clean as an entry, right? So until I can really figure out a name for it or something to call it, like even space isn't a good name for consolidation, right? I can just say consolidating candle, but not everybody can understand what a consolidating candle is. So again, it's going to happen over time. Like guys, you guys got to bear with me. I came up with the strategy like last week, so I don't have everything in place to really like I could see it with my eyes, but I can't exactly tell you exactly what I'm seeing, right? Because I'm just looking at the charts. Typically, the way that I came up with the strategy was I just marked up 630 to 7, and then I looked for similar patterns that came up. But the patterns aren't always going to be super clean. Like thankfully, this week's been super clean because the trend's super direct. Price comes up, retrace, continuation. But that's kind of the pattern that you're looking for. You're looking for like a V-type pattern, right? You're looking for price to come down and come back up from there. So that is pretty much what you guys would be looking for. But again, if you guys have any more questions regarding the PRB, I'll try to answer as much as I can. But like I said, I just came up with the strategy like 2 weeks ago. It's just a variation to what we were already applying. You know, if you were applying the original breakout strategy, you could have taken, breakout entries right here. Or if you wanted to take a breakout continuation, you could have done that as well. There's like 4 different breakout strategies that we use. They're very similar. There's just different entry points. So if there's any other questions that you guys have regarding the PRB, feel free to ask away. But for the most part, I'm probably not going to have an answer for you because there's no criteria for it. But yeah, if you guys just want to stick to the PRB, I think the PRB will probably be the most consistent strategy for you. Like, let's see if I can pull up my TradeOvate again. All right, so here's my TradeOvate. Let me pull up my performance from last week. So my performance from last week, let's see, from the 29th up until to okay, let's just do last week. Let's do that. It's easier. Last week, gotta go. And you guys can see right here, I just took the PRB entry. I made 4,380. This is per account. So 4,380, this is only applying the PRB. I didn't take any other scalps because no entries actually came up. My drawdown was super small. It's $37 drawdown for the entire week. So I had like literally no drawdown the whole week. So I took this with 8 accounts. As you guys know, 4,380 times 8 made a total profit of 35,040 for my Apex. So again, this is the power of the PRB strategy. That's why I'm kind of giving you guys the option. If you guys just want to take this during the mentorship, I think this would probably be your best option because I see a lot of people make mistakes with the V1 variation and the breakout V3 continuation. And you guys can see right here that, and I have, all my other accounts. So yeah, if you guys want to do this, I think your odds are way better. And it's going to be a lot easier because you're only focusing on making 1 entry per day. And then you just have to control yourself not to take any other entries. And you can see over here, all the PRB entries were super quick, right? I think the longest we held was about 3 minutes. The other PRB entries here for like 28 seconds, like less than a minute. One was for 7 minutes. I don't know why I was holding on to that for so long, but that was the one entry that I took on the 30th. But other than that, everything was for like a minute, 2 minutes, less than a minute. And these are my stats, can't fake these stats here. Literally shows you all my trades for the week. So there goes an explanation of the PRB strategy. Now we'll cover some examples of the V1 variation with confluence. So guys, if there's any other question that you guys have, feel free to put your questions in the chat. Otherwise, we'll go over to the next strategy, which will be the next official strategy, the V1 variation with confluence. The reason why I chose these strategies because the V1 variation with confluence works well with a ranging market. So if the market's ranging for the week, you'll probably be applying this mainly. If the market's moving directional, you'll take the breakout V3 continuation with confluence. And then every day other than that, you'll be taking the PRV. So if you just want to have one entry every single day, you just need to take the PRV and that's pretty much it. So, all right, we're going to move on to the variation V1. If there's any other questions regarding the anything that we've covered so far, feel free to hop into the chat. Otherwise, let me see if I can find some examples for the V1 variation with confluence. So let's go back to Friday. I'm pretty sure there was no entries on Friday, but I'm going to go over here anyways. So I'll mark up 8 o'clock because that's cut off the live session time. I'll mark up 6:30 right here. Let's replay it at 8 o'clock. I'll turn on the high-low indicator, the sessions. So let me see if I can find any examples of a V1 variation with confluence. I'll look for both of the strategies here, so we just go day by day. I think it'll be easier that way, but I mean, realistically, I don't think there was any entries for this whole week. Yeah, looking at our results for this week, we didn't take anything. So, I'm going to go back to the week prior. So let's go back to January 25th, because we're not gonna find anything here. We didn't take anything last week. So let's go to January 25th, because that's the last time we took an official entry. So again, guys, your main focus for this mentorship is going to be only 3 strategies. If you want to just focus on the PRV strategy and just take one entry, then that's fine. That's probably what I'd recommend. But if you guys want to take the other strategies, we're going to go over examples for those that you guys know what to look for. So if you guys want to go back and retest this strategy or back test the strategy, just go back each day and then back test it. So let's see, the last time we took an entry was on the 25th, which was over here. It's pretty far back. Okay, so over here on the 25th, I'm going to go back to 6:30, put a line right there. Go to 8 o'clock, put a line right there. I'm going to replay it to 8 o'clock. And let's see if we can find any entries here. So I don't see anything here for V1 variations, but I believe we do have one here for a breakout V3 continuation. So let me go back over here real quick. And I'll put the criteria for a breakout V3 continuation. Sorry guys, the text again isn't working. Let me see if I can pull it up over here. Breakout V3. Okay, so I'll put the criteria here for the breakout V3 continuation. So for this strategy right here, first you want to confirm the momentum signal. So for this strategy, this is one of our official strategies that we apply. This is one of the official strategies that we apply. The only problem with this that a lot of people don't like is a negative risk reward. It works well, but you have to apply it with the confluence. So this is just the regular strategy. First, you want to confirm a momentum signal. Right here, we have a buy signal. So this is going to be the momentum signal that you're looking for. Number 2, you want to confirm that the following candle is the same color as momentum. So right here, we have a buy signal. So the next candle following it has to be a green candle as well. Once you confirm that, this is going to be a breakout V3 entry. For the breakout V3, you're looking for the first entry that comes up. For the continuation, you're looking for anything that happens throughout the day. So it can happen after the first one, as long as all of the other criteria is met. So for example, right here, we have an entry that's set up. Once you have this set up, in order to have the confluence, you want to look back to the most recent high-low. So right here, you have a low, and you want to make sure that this is a V1 pattern. A V1 pattern is either a double body rejection or a double wick rejection on the same level. There's no double wick here, but there is a double body. You can see they're on the same level there, so I'll mark structure up. So there goes the confluence. We have an entry here for a breakout V3 continuation, plus we have a confluence here with the V1 variation, identifying a reversal. You can see how price pushes up, comes back down. We have the double body right here. This confirms a reversal pattern. And then we have the breakout V3 over here, continuation, that provides the direction of price. So price comes up, retraces, reversal pattern, continuation pattern right here. This is where you would take your buy entry. You'd set up for a 10-30 split. Once you have it set up right there, you let the trade run, and you can see right there full TP. So there goes one example of a breakout V3 continuation. This is what we'll be looking for during the live sessions for official entries. You're going to make sure that you have the confluence because we're only taking entries with the confluence. So there goes one right there. And I think there's another one that is right here as well. And this is an example of one that you wouldn't take. It meets criteria, but for this one here, there's a red flag, right? There's a red flag because there's a session right there. So I'll just mark it up to show you an example of another entry, but I'll explain why we wouldn't take it. So again, you're looking for a momentum signal, following candle to be the same color. They're both green. We're looking for the V3, or sorry, we're looking for the V1 confluence here. So price pushed up, retraced down, provided a double body rejection right here off the low. This is going to confirm a reversal pattern. So price came up, came down, reversed off this pattern, shot up right here. So we have the reversal right here. Then we have the breakout V3 continuation, identifying that price is likely to continue up higher. And that's where your entry would happen right here. You'd have it set up to a 10-30 split. Unfortunately, because the sessions are right here, again, if you guys are not familiar with the red flags are going to be any of the horizontal lines. So any red line, purple line, or green line, you're going to avoid trades because this is an area of manipulation. So even though this trade does line up, I would personally avoid it because of the red flag. But if you did take the trade, it still would have played through, right? So it's just up to preference. But for this mentorship, you want to stick to only official entries, meaning just entries that are A+ setups. There's no possibility of it to likely reverse on you, and the odds of it hitting are very likely. So this one would have been skipped, but the second one over here would have been taken. So if there's any questions regarding this, guys, feel free to let me know. I mean, this is a pretty self-explanatory strategy. It's not very difficult. It's just really following directions. Let's see, Cameron said, can you go over the entry on Friday at 7:24? Let's see. This Friday, right, Cameron? Friday just passed. All right, so 7:24. Okay, so this entry right here, and I'll show you. Here's another criteria that I didn't really put into the requirements, but you have to confirm the trend, right? And this, I know this is what happened with this entry right here. So the reason why we wouldn't have taken this trade right here is because if you look down at the trend was not confirmed yet, right? Again, for every strategy that we're applying, we're looking for trend. So that's going to be the first step right there, Cameron. If you look over here at the pivots, sorry, 1 second. Let me get some water. And I didn't realize I've been talking for like over an hour. But kind of parched. All right. So for this entry right here, Cameron, you would have skipped it because there's no trend confirmed, right? You need the fourth pivot to be below all the other pivots. It's same with the PRV strategy. You're not going to take any PRVs unless like the trend's confirmed, and same with the V1 variation. So the reason why this trade here was skipped, and if you're ever confused about a strategy, guys, just go back and review the replay, right? Because I explained it in detail during the replay too. But going over it again right here, that's the main reason why you would have taken the trade. So there was a V1 pattern right here. But the reason why you wouldn't have taken it is because there's no trend. So this isn't something that we talk about a lot because it's like something that we kind of think is obvious at this point. We only trade in the direction of the trend, but that's the reason why you would have skipped it. So there's no trend there. And obviously because there's no trend, it would have been skipped. And I think this is why, you lost the trade, obviously, because the trend there wasn't confirmed yet. The trend confirmed after. So like the trend was confirmed after the entry was already taken. So the entry would have happened over here. So at this point, the trend hasn't confirmed until like way down here, like 2 minutes later. At that point, I wouldn't have even been in the entry. The only time I would make a late entry is if, so for example, the trend shifts now, right? If I was to see a V1 pattern here for a reversal, then okay, maybe I would enter it late. But at this point, I wouldn't have taken it because there's just no entry that came up. There's no other V1 patterns here to provide late entry. But even in that case, I still wouldn't take it because the entry here was already invalidated to begin with. So does that make sense, Cameron? Or if there's anything else you want me to cover regarding that, let me know. Yeah, so guys, just keep that in mind. During the live session, I know you have to like really pay attention to the trend. I think the default color for pivot 4 is red anyways. Let me see the defaults. Yeah, it's already red anyways. So the main thing you want to focus on is just look at the red pivot, because if all the pivots are below, then it's going to be bearish. If all the pivots are above it, then it's going to be bullish. And that's kind of what you're looking for. So right here, it was close to crossing, but not exactly there. So yeah, if there's any other questions, guys, let me know. But the trend is key. So the trend is pretty much vital to every strategy that we apply. I know it's not one of the requirements because it's not always going to be necessary, but if you're looking for an A+ setup, you for sure want to confirm the trend. That's always going to be number one for everything that you apply, unless the trend's confirmed, because all the strategies we take are trend continuation. And that's kind of what you want to focus on. So let me see if there's any other entries here for the V1s. I don't know if we have to cover any more breakout V3 continuations. It's pretty straightforward, so there's not too much to really cover on it. But if you guys want me to cover it again, let me know. Otherwise, let's go over here to the V1 variation with confluence. Let me just pull up so the V1 variation happened on the 22nd. That's the last time we took it here on the official trades. So I'm just going to go and go to that specific date so that I don't have to waste time going through every single day here. And if you guys need help with backtesting, or you guys need to understand how to backtest, let me know. And I'll show you, different ways to do it if like this original way doesn't work out for you, which it should. I think this is the easiest way. And there's only so many days you can backtest anyways. So you'll have a lot of days set to test with. All right, let's go over here to the 22nd. Markup 8 o'clock right here. Markup 6:30. So again, our live sessions are just between 6:30 and 8. So you're not looking for anything before, you're not looking for anything after. You're just looking for entries between this time period right here. So let me go and find that V1 variation pattern that we took. That wasn't here. Trend here was bullish, so we're looking for buys here. Trying to figure out where that entry was. 22nd. Oh, sorry, wrong date. You can go a little farther back. Wait, no, this is the 22nd. Let me see where that entry was. Okay, so it was like a little past 7. The entry was, oh, I know what happened. Okay, so what happened here was that the low kind of flipped a little bit. There we go. So this was the entry right here. You can't see it when it was farther back because the low got pushed down further, but it happened right over here. Okay, so for the V1 variation, you're looking again to confirm the trend, right? So first you want to confirm the trend. The trend here is bullish, obviously, because the level 4 pivot is below all the other pivots, and the trend meter down below is green. You don't need to use both, but I use both for just confirmation purposes. So what you're looking for here is you're looking for a V1 pattern. You're looking for a double body or a double wick. Again, you want to find a confluence, same confluence that's used for the V1, for the breakout V3 continuation. You're looking for another V1 that happens right before it. So right here is a double body rejection, and then right here is another double body rejection. So you're basically looking for a double bottom. You're looking for a reversal that happens on the same level. So you got a reversal pattern right here, and you have another reversal pattern right here. You have two reversal patterns, and that's exactly what you're looking for. You're looking for, and then, so let me put the criteria up here. I need to figure out how to fix that. It's kind of annoying that I can't put this on here, but get the criteria for the V1 variation. And I got so many strategies here. Let's see, where is the V1? Okay, perfect. Go over here real quick. Okay, so let's, one second, guys. Okay, so first you want to confirm the overall bias. We can't do this because we have to do this during open hours. We can't confirm retail sentiment, where we're going to just assume that was bullish. I'm pretty sure it was bullish because it's been bullish since November. So retail sentiment here was bullish, fundamental bias, I'm assuming it was bullish too because the trend here is bullish pretty much all day. And the technical bias right here, obviously the trend here is bullish, right? So we can't say for sure whether it was bullish, but we're just going to say that it was bullish here. That's going to be the assumption here. So first you want to confirm that you're trading the direction of overall bias, which is bullish here. Second, you want to confirm a high low. So right here we have a high low. Third, you want to confirm that the candle following the high low is a double wick or a double body. So this candle right here is a double body rejection, meaning they're on the same level. So if I drew a line right here, you can see that they're exactly on the same level, right? So once you confirm that, you want to confirm that there's a pending momentum in the direction of the trade. So the reason we want to do that is because when you see the reversal pattern here, you want the momentum to push price straight to your TP. Right here is a sell signal. So this means that the next signal has to be a buy signal, right? And once you confirm that, you can see that here is both, you have the pending momentum in place because you have a reversal, and then now you're looking for the buy signal to push price right straight through your TP. Once you confirm that, you can enter on the open of the following candle. So this is going to be a regular V1 variation entry right here, right? Since you want the confluence, you want to make sure that there's another V1 pattern right before it. So this one over here doesn't matter. You just want to see what happens right before it. This right here is a V1 pattern. Once you have that aligned, and you have here another confluence for a double bottom, basically, you'll enter the trade there for a buy. You'll take this for a 1030 split. You'll let the trade run. Comes back up and hits TP right there. And that's the entry that we took over here on January 22nd. So there goes one example right there. I'll go back to the 17th over here to show you another example. But if there's any other questions here, guys, feel free to pop into the chat. So let me go over to the 17th. Because you already have that there. So if you guys want to test this, you can go back every single day and just go back and test it. So for example, we did the 22nd here on Monday. If you want to go to Friday and just test it, there was no entries there, but if you want to go back and test it, you can. So if you want to go over here and just go back to, 8 o'clock and see if you find any entries here. No entry. I can just zoom through it and I can just see if there's an entry or not, but looking at it from my perspective, there's nothing here. Because there's no trend and there's no confirmation of like direction here. So there's no entry here on Friday. Again, I think the entry was on the 17th. So let me go back over here to the 17th. Thanks, Drew. Yeah, it's been bullish pretty much for the past couple months now. So it's not too difficult to kind of assume, what specific entry happen. So let's go back to the 17th right here. All right, 8 o'clock. So let's see if I can find it. All right, I think that's pretty simple. It was like, where did the entry come up at? I think so. I might have to go through it again because the high lows kind of adjusted. Okay, so the entry happened over here at 7 o'clock. So let me just rewind at 7 o'clock. Oh, never mind. I see it now. Okay, so again, right here, you put the criteria. Let's see, question from Jeff. Jeff's asking, is the second candle of the high low important for the V1? What do you mean by that, Jeff? Because the second candle is where you identify the entry, right? So, I mean, it would have to be a double body. Oh, yeah, no signal. Yeah, so yeah, for the note, um, you can't have the momentum there because if you have the momentum on the second candle, then there's no longer a pending momentum, right? So that's why, yeah, it would be important because if there was a buy signal right here, it would invalidate the fourth requirement because you're looking for the pending momentum because you want that momentum there like to happen after so that when you're in the position, it blasts right through your TP. So yeah, the momentum, it's a hard line criteria that you would need no momentum at all for the entry here. Because if you did, then it kind of defeats the purpose for having that momentum to push price right through. Because what you're doing with this is you're kind of you're predicting the momentum before it happens. So let me go again right here. For the strategy, first you want to confirm bias. We're going to assume it was bullish. You want to confirm a high low right here. For that high low, you want to confirm that there's a double body or double wick. Right here, there's a double body rejection. And then you want to confirm that there's a pending momentum. The reason for that pending momentum is that you're kind of just predicting that price is going to push up. So you're basically anticipating that this is going to happen. Like you're anticipating the buy signal will come up next. And when it comes up, it's going to push straight through to your TP. For the extra confluence, you want to confirm that there's another V1 pattern prior. I don't know what happened with this entry here. For some reason, because this doesn't meet the confluence criteria. I don't know why I think this trade was an accidental trade. So this is actually not a good example, guys. Sorry. I just realized that this candle right here didn't have a double body or a double wick. Oh, gotcha. Okay. So Maddie said that's when we were just taking it before with just structure. Okay. So that makes sense. So I think during this time right here, we weren't actually using the confluence and we are just using structure. Gotcha. Yeah, that makes sense. So this is a pattern of a V1 pattern, but this doesn't meet the confluence criteria. But basically, you're looking for the confluence criteria because it pretty much establishes a double body right here or a double bottom. So once you have that lined up, thanks, Maddie, for letting me know because I was confused too for a second. So right here, you take a 10-30 split. And once you have that lined up, you take the entry right there. So for example, right here, Jeff, this is why you would want to wait for that momentum because you're basically predicting the momentum, right? Like you know the momentum is going to happen. It's pending. It's going to happen at some point, especially if the trend here is bullish. So the trend's bullish, you have a retracement, and you know that momentum is going to push enough to hit your TP. If you measure any momentum candle, and this is where the strategy came up from, because if you measure every momentum candle, it pushes up at least 100 pips, right? So you're only going for 100 pips or 10 points. If you measure any momentum candle, it's going to push at least 10 points, right? So if you can predict that properly, you're going to hit your TP like almost every time. And that's why we use that criteria there. And that's why it's super important. So that's pretty much it with the V1. Let's see. Question over here from Madhu. Madhu's asking on the 22nd, would the PRB entry have happened a little bit before 6:45? So let's go over here to the 22nd. So if there's any other questions, guys, regarding any of the strategies, let me know. So we're pretty much almost wrapped up with everything we plan on covering today. So if there's anything else you guys want me to cover, just let me know so that you guys can be prepared for tomorrow's live session. But again, if you guys just want to take the PRB entry, that's completely fine. I'll probably only be taking that too. I'll probably mark up other entries, but I'm probably going to stick to the PRBs. So let's see, Madhu wanted me to take a look at the 22nd. Was 6:45, 7 o'clock. Okay. So let's mark up 6:30. The PRB entry happened. So my PRB entry would happen right here, Madhu, on this green candle. So again, and I'm just pointing it out right here, but like there's no, the criteria that I was, see like the space, there's no clear space here. The space that I see right here is actually on the entry candle. Because I kind of look for a doji candle, but not exactly it doesn't have to be a clean doji. It just has to, like, I'm just so used to seeing certain patterns where I see where I know price is going to move in a certain direction, and it happened right here. So I know, I think Madhu's probably looking at this one over here. Let's see, you said 6:45, which, I mean, it could have played out right here too. So he said 6:45, which was it just he would have taken it later. And that's what I was kind of like hinting with you guys, that there's different entry points that you can take. It's just the one that I'm personally looking at is different. So right here, there's actually, or you could have taken it even right here at 6:38, Madhu. There's actually a lot of different entry points for it. For me personally, I would have taken it right here because I would have used this as my consolidation candle. And the reason for that is because, let me just go over here real quick. So you can kind of see how these candles are slightly different. And again, this just goes back to price action. So like market open right here at 6:30, we had price push up and then it kind of retraced down right here. And then when it retraced down right here, I kind of jumbled like two criteria at once. Because you can see how these candles here are, you can see the big push up. This right here is the big push to the upside. And this right here is kind of like the consolidation candle that I was talking about. This body right here just shows that price is pushing up. It's kind of chilling for a little bit right here, pushes up, kind of just, it's like the candle is relaxing. It's relaxing, but it's still pushing up. We have a bullish trend here where price pushes up, and then this right here comes down. You can't see the actual candle as it came out, but the way that I can see it right here is that the candle obviously came down, and then it spiked right back up, right? And then it kind of got stuck right here. So this is where I saw the consolidation happening, in my opinion. That's kind of just where I see it. And then from here, I'm expecting a continuation higher. So for me personally, this is where I would be looking for my entry. That's where I would look for it, for me specifically. Would have been early on right there. You can see the trend is bullish. The momentum right there is bullish, pushes it up, full TP. But again, like if Madhu was looking for this here, you could have, if you're going over the criteria I was talking about earlier, and this is why I mean that the charts aren't always going to be clean. So the entry probably should have happened right here, but I personally would have taken it right here because I just would have went off my instincts, right? My trading instincts. So I would have taken it right here, but it wouldn't really matter because if you took it right there or right here, you still would have had about the same entry. And I think this is this where you're looking at, Madhu? Because this still looks like a better entry point. Like you can see the doji candle right there. This actually looks like a better one. But sometimes you can't be lagging it, right? You can't lag it. If you get too scared and you don't enter where you're supposed to enter, you just might miss the entry for the day. So Madhu actually has a better analysis here. It's just that for me, I acted on it earlier where I would have held on to the trade longer, but eventually would have hit. So yeah, Madhu actually has a better analysis here where price pushes up, retraces down, the consolidation happens right here, and that's where he would have taken his entry, which wouldn't really matter because if you look back again right here, so I would have had this entry running, and if Madhu was taking his entry, it would have happened right here, pretty close to mine, just later entry. And either way, both of them would have hit. See, they would have hit on the same candle too. Like this big push right here would have been the entry for both. So yeah, I mean, it could have happened right there, or it could have happened right here. But for me personally, this is where I would have taken mine. Let's see. Yeah, I agree. C6 said that 638 gives space and a clean rejection. So that would have been a better entry actually. But again, like I said, for me, I'm looking for something very specific. And I think for this right here, I would have taken it at that point right there specifically because there's just too much. Like you can't really think, right? Like for me, when I know the entry is coming, I take it. I don't think too much about it because I already know the pattern that I'm looking for. And I would have factored in this retracement right here on open because price was already bullish here on open. Price already retraced, so I would have factored this in as the retracement. Price came up, and I'm pretty sure when this was moving in real time, I would have seen this came down, came back up, sit right here in the middle for a little bit, and that would have been my entry time. But it's always going to be slightly different um, with the criteria. Let's see. Hawk is asking, should we consider the volatility for ATR when looking for trades? Yes. So the ATR, well, I mean, it's not always going to be required, but the ATR should typically be around like 15 or higher. So 15 or higher is going to be like normal ATR. Anything below 12 is going to be too low. You probably wanted to skip trades on low ATR. For the breakout, it kind of depends because the ATR could be low, but the market could still be moving very quickly. So for example, over here, so you can see when my entry came up right here, the ATR was 12. Or actually, it was up to 14 already. So my entry would happen right here. The ATR was at 14, so it would have been okay. But if it was like 12, like over here, you can see that there's volatility on the candles, but the overall ATR is not very volatile. The reason for that is because this factors in the previous 14 candles, right? So if all these candles here are slow, which obviously they would be because this is pre-market, it wouldn't be caught up yet. But when my entry came up right here, the ATR is actually higher. And then if you go farther down to where Madhu's entry came up, it was like perfect above 15. So the you typically want to look for something above 15, but it's not always going to be required, especially not for the PRB entry because the PRB happens earlier in the session. So the ATR is typically going to be a lot slower earlier in the session until the market picks back up. So yeah, you typically want to have it around like 15. Anything above 22 is going to be kind of high. So if it's above 15, if it's above 22, you probably want to have a wider TP stop loss because, I mean, you can't see it here, but if the ATR is super high, look, for example, it doesn't really go up high here. But if it goes like above 22, that's going to be super risky for TP stop loss to 25, 25, right? Because the ATR basically gives you an average of the previous 14 candles. So if the candle is moving, say, for example, ATR 23, right? So if the ATR is at 23, like this is how much price is going to be moving. And if it retraces down on the next candle, say every candle is moving 23, it can actually go down to your stop loss before it comes right back up. So if your ATR is too high, then you probably want to use like a 50-50 instead. So you have more space. And then again, if the ATR is low, the 1030 is good because if the ATR is like 12 points, and let me just change this over here again real quick. Say, for example, the ATR is, let me just adjust this. ATR is 12. It can still bounce between this area, right? Go back and forth before it goes to your TP. So you typically want it to be, the sweet spot is 15. Anything below 12 is too slow. Anything above 22 is going to be too fast. So you just have to adjust your TP stop loss based off the ATR. But right now at this specific time, 15 is like the sweet spot. And we'll see if it changes over the next couple of days, next couple of months, because the market is always changing, especially during the seasons. I see Williams asking, could you go to Wednesday's PRB? Yeah, didn't we cover that already, William? Because I thought we covered that. That's where I showed where your PRB wouldn't work, right? Because I think that's the one that we actually looked at. And I said, okay, your example there wouldn't work because it doesn't meet the criteria. Okay, yeah, no, fine. We'll go over it again. I just want to make sure because I want to make sure you're like this information is soaking in for you. So you're not just like uh understanding, the whole explanation behind it. Because the whole point of this mentorship, guys, is for you guys to understand, right? Again, you don't have to like it's this mentorship's is meant to get your mindset proper, right? You want to make sure that you're taking A+ setups always. You're only taking A+ setups so that you can consistently become profitable. I think the main problem with a lot of people is just the consistency part, right? The consistency and discipline. But okay, let's go back over here to 630. So I'm gonna go back and reread your question again, William, just so that we can kind of pinpoint. Okay, so let me take off the sessions because there's no restrictions here. All right, so William said the trend is confirmed. The momentum matches the trend. His consolidation candle was at 655, and that's where he took the sell at the close of the candle. Okay, so let's see. Your entry happened at 655, which should be right here. Wait, isn't that the entry? I thought that was the entry, wasn't it? Or sorry, let me. Okay, I took what I thought would be. There's a whole markup for my entry. That is my entry, or I think it was it? Let me go back real quick. I'm just confused because I thought that was my entry. Let me scroll up real quick. That was on the 31st. Okay, my entry was a little later. It was at 7. It was like right at 7. I think it was right here, right? Like right before 7. Okay, so let's just start off with this right here. So your entry happened right here, but this couldn't be your entry because there's no trend at that point, William. So your entry happened right here, right? At 7. Right? I mean, I guess this could have been, well, no, it couldn't be. It's like impossible because the trend barely happened right here. This is where my first rejection happened at. So I think this is where, yeah, so this is where our analysis collides. Because your first thing, like the very first thing that you're looking for is the trend, right? It's impossible to take a trade here because there's no trend yet. The trend barely happened right here. So you can't look for the retracement until you have the trend, right? You can't look for anything until the trend's been confirmed. So this right here is where my retracement actually happened. So price came down right here, the trend was confirmed, and this is my retracement. So price comes up, there goes my candle that I was talking about, the space. And then price comes up a little bit right here. And then this is where I see the turnaround. So the turnaround happened right there, I believe. But this was kind of a bad entry because it happened right at 7. So, I mean, I wouldn't have taken this myself. It was just where I would have identified it because my cutoff is like 7 o'clock. This is where volatility dies down. And that's where my entry would have happened. That's where I marked it up. Right here. Yeah, I mean, if you wanted to take it at 655, that could have been the end. So again, this just goes back to what we were just saying, right, William? There's no way for me to tell you exactly where to make entry. This is where I identified my entry, but this is where you identified yours. They both would have worked. But it's just it's just different entry points because my analysis is never going to really line up with yours unless you're looking at exactly what I'm looking at. So Yeah, no, that's fine. You could have entered right there too. But again, there's like two different entry points. They both would have worked out. But for me personally, well, again, I couldn't really tell because I was trading on my phone, right? So I think if I was not on my phone, I probably would have taken the same one you did too, because it would have met the criteria right there. But because I was on my phone, I wasn't able to really see. So you can see the screenshot here from when I took it. Because it's hard to see on the phone. Like you can't really see the pivots as clear as I would on my computer. So yeah, exactly, Maddie. The pivots need to be bearish. It's just I think your entry would have happened too early, William. But I mean, they both would have worked out. Whether you took your entry time or you took mine, um, I think the trend here barely shifted. So I don't think I would have taken it at your point right there. Because yeah, the doji is cool, but you still have there's other criteria that needs to be met too. It's not just the doji, right? I mean, if you're just to take every doji trade, you can maybe have some good, like for example, price pushes up and you see another doji right there. You could have taken that for a buy too if you wanted. Like the trend was confirmed. Like I mean, there's a lot of different criteria here that you can apply, and that's why I'm saying like this strategy, it's very discretionary. Like there's no, I can't give you criteria for it. Because if I tell you to look for every doji, then your entry could happen way over here. But I think the biggest thing is the trend. So I mean it's really up to the trend, right? The trend has to be confirmed before you can really look for anything. So I think, yeah, I mean it's just up to preference. But this doji right here wouldn't be my entry point because you don't have an actual retracement. So right here, price just came down. There's no retracement yet, and the trend wasn't even shifted. If the trend shifted way over here, then yeah, okay, I can see the price come down, retrace, come back down, retrace again, and then the doji would be for, but you would still have to, there's no retracement after your doji, William. So you still wouldn't have an entry there. So I don't, now that I think about it, it's actually not even going to have an entry there because you don't have the retracement. You do have the doji, but you're looking for the doji and price to kind of go sideways a little bit and turn back down. Not exactly, because if that was the case, your entry actually would have happened down here, right? Which I wouldn't have taken because price is already farther down. You're looking for the retracement, or you're looking for price to go down, retracement, and then you're looking for the doji to happen up here, not down here, because you need that other retracement after it. Because it doesn't turn around, it turns around down here. And at this point, I think you probably would have lost the trade. Or no, it still would have hit. It just would have taken longer for you to hit right here. So I think you like with this entry here, you kind of just skip a step because you didn't wait for the trend to confirm. You kind of just jumped in right when the trend shifted because the trend literally shifted right there. But again, it's going to be a matter of time. You just got to keep practicing. If you want to keep testing it, William, I'd recommend, just go back and just keep testing it farther back. That's how you'll really see these patterns. Because, you can't expect to like know exactly how it's applied without like, because I've tested this like weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. And I've even gone back and looked back at previous sessions like months back to just to really establish that pattern. But all right, guys, if there's any other questions, feel free to put them in the chat. Otherwise, I think this will be it. Been on this orientation for about an hour and a half or more, I think 2 hours now. Wait, how long have we been on here? I don't even, we've been on here for 2.5 hours. All right, so yeah, I'm kind of burnt out from this orientation, but I think we pretty much covered everything here that is necessary for our live session tomorrow. So again, guys, if you guys have any questions, reach out. If you want to focus on just a PRB, then you can just take the PRB. I think that for the first week, if you guys want to just do that for the first week or even for the first month, just take the PRB and then later on add on the V1 variation with confluence or the breakout V3 with confluence, you can. It's just the PRB it's just more of a solid strategy because you're going to be trading at a 1-to-1 and the win rate is so high. So yeah, we'll see what happens. But yeah, guys, again, tomorrow's the first official session for us. We're going to have the live session. And then after that live session, we'll get on a private mentoring session like this. I'll probably still stream it, but guys, if you guys are on the YouTube, I'm not answering any questions on there because this is private for just the people in the mentoring group. But I am going to be streaming it on the YouTube just so that we have documentation of the video if you guys want to go back and review it. So yeah, guys. If you guys have any other questions, reach out. Otherwise, I will see you guys back here tomorrow morning as we officially kick off this mentorship. Again, guys, there's not going to be a mentorship or a live training session on Tuesday. If you guys are just joining the group, I got to get my veneers fixed, and my fiance is going to get her veneers done as well. So we're going to be out of town on Tuesday morning. So no live session on Tuesday, but we will be continuing on all throughout the week. So, all right, guys, other than that,